Let's talk about one of the biggest problems in Batman vs. Superman, a movie with the word man written twice in the title. Women in this movie are terrible. Yeah?
Before anyone calls us social justice warriors,
Yes.
this is a movie that is called Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
Just maybe just pump the brakes and just...
It kind of
It's
stars
okay.
two SJWs,
Yes.
if you think about it.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Sorry.
All right, on that note.
You've got a bobblehead of an SJW on your desk.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the females in this movie. Right off the bat, let's get out the best one, right? Gal
Wonder
Gadot.
Woman.
Gal
Wonder
Gadot,
Woman.
awesome in this movie, super cool. It's weird how she's introduced to as a JPEG attachment, basically, to an email while her song plays.
Really weird role in that film. Let's not go down that path too much, but
she's good.
She's cool. I'm excited about her solo movie because I think it'll be a little more focused than this one was. But that said, she also kind of she showed up to do some fighting.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's just kind of just hanging around. Just sort of did some weird stuff, but all right, not terrible.
So let's head on over to here. This is where things immediately get tricky. Now we've got Tao Okamoto, right? And she's this Asian actress. She's awesome, and she plays in this movie Mercy Graves, who is in the animated series. If you want to go to the next frame, who's an awesome character, super cool. In Batman vs Superman, once again, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie.
Yep.
Mercy Graves is Lex Luthor's assistant, who basically plays the Asian assistant trope, right? Or the
Which
secretary.
also, I'm sorry. My fiance is Asian, and she's constantly very angry about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I agree with her, because we've seen this, 15 years ago with, X2, you had Lady Deathstrike as this, silent, heartless, Japanese ninja woman.
Yep.
And then you had, the woman in Die Hard, or Live Free, Die Hard, and then there's the lady with the weird feet in Kingsman. It keeps showing up. Keep an eye out for it, because it's gross.
Which, to be fair, you can be, Superman's a cool journalist, right? You can be a cool secretary or a cool assistant, but she's not in this movie.
Right.
In this movie, she basically walks downstairs and goes, hey, Ben Affleck, are you stealing stuff from the server? Because the party's upstairs. And he's like, no. And she goes, oh, all right. And then she leaves. And then she goes to a senatorial hearing where she gets blown up. Lex Luthor kills his assistant. That's all you get from this character. And it's the same treatment they gave Jimmy Olsen in this movie. They just go, here's a cool character, we're just gonna kill him off for no reason. Because why? Zack Snyder's like, I don't know where he fits in the universe. He fits at the other end of a gun or an explosion. All right, next up we've got Diane Lane, who is an award-winning actress. She's in this movie as Superman's mother. Her only job is to basically take out garbage behind that restaurant. And
also, sorry, side note. Really weird breakdown here. You know how she plays Superman's mom and Ben Affleck plays Batman?
Yep.
They were in a different movie where they played each other's lovers in a movie about Superman. It's called Hollywoodland. That's a really weird casting mix-up to have.
It's sort of like Tom Hanks tried to hook up with Sally Fields in one movie, and then Forrest Gump, it's his mom.
So weird. Yeah, but maybe Batman and Superman are fighting because Batman after mom in Elseworlds. No.
Yes, exactly.
All
now you've got Diane Lane. In this movie, she doesn't really do much. She's Martha. They yell her name a lot at the end to solve the conflict of the film.
And you really aren't even holding back on this.
No, titular conflict of the film. And what happens? She gets bound and gagged, and they write witch on her forehead, and then they kidnap her and basically try to kill her and take a bunch of pictures of her that you would use on Instagram with a bunch of bad filters on them.
Really bad.
And then they have to cycle through all of them and throw them on the floor. Other than that,
really awful.
Really not given much to do. That's it. She is the only character in this movie that I believe talks to another woman in this movie, which is when she has a conversation with Lois Lane about Clark Kent.
Let's talk about Lois Lane then.
Let's talk about Lois Lane. You want to handle this one?
I don't.
Okay.
Really
Lois
don't.
Lane in this movie is basically an investigative journalist whose first question as a journalist to a terrorist is, are you a terrorist?
And then they're like, that's a crazy thing for a lady to say. And she's like, I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist. Like, all right.
Then she's held at gunpoint multiple times, and then she's kidnapped, she's nearly drowned. Her entire purpose in this film is to learn the plot of the movie as the audience is learning it, and then repeat it back to the audience because we don't understand it by then. Spoilers, we do. But then it doesn't matter because the resolution of this movie, again, totally hinges on the fact that there's a coincidental naming between the two characters' moms. I know it's not that simple. I know it's deeper than that. Don't get mad at us over it. It's a long show. Lois Lane, Amy Adams, great actress. Not used for anything good here, just like she was in the last film. Let's move on. Now, who do we have here? If you've ever seen The Walking Dead, you know all about Lauren Cohen. She's awesome on the show. She's one of the best people at hiding a British accent in the world. I think she's fantastic. She's gorgeous, amazing actress, great range. One of the best parts of the show that is kind of slogging along in its 50th season. What does she do in this movie? She plays Bruce Wayne's mom, who, for the 50th time in film, video games, TV, pop culture, or anything, is murdered on camera.
I like that they felt the need to establish Batman's origin story in a movie that makes no other concessions for people who might not know what's going on.
Well, they actually don't tell you what's going on in his life besides the little exposition he has with Alfred. Now, Lauren Cohen's awesome. She's great. She doesn't really get any speaking roles. She's just killed and her pearls fall on the floor.
It's good use of casting, though. That's great.
Nailed it. All right, this one's the actual worst. This is Holly Hunter. Holly Hunter is a senator in this film who's basically given some of the most ridiculous, Southern farm girl crap to say, hey, I was raised on a farm. I know how to marry a horse.
You can fart in my hair and tell me it's windy, but I'm not going to buy it.
And what happens to her in this movie? We're going to get to it even more in a second, but she is basically given a senatorial hearing to speak in front of an entire audience where she looks down and realizes that she might be sipping on a big old jar of piss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they do with this lady. And after that, if that makes you feel bad, they just blow her up. She just explodes. So she dies doing what she loves, looking at a jar of piss.
Yeah,
and that's the women in Batman vs. Superman, save for Wonder Woman. Hope you don't like women because they didn't like them either in this movie.
Yeah. That sucks.
That really sucks. I hope they get it right the next time because there's a lot of really awesome female characters in the DC universe. And it's time to start taking care of them and doing cool stuff with their characters. Write good characters. That's all we ask.